Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the G-Shock Watcher. My name is Matthew Hardman, and today on this episode we're going to be talking about the news. We haven't done the news for a while, but we're just getting into June, so there's a whole slew of really interesting watches and stories that are coming out from the May news cycle. We're not going to be able to cover them all because obviously you don't want to be with me here for hours, but I am going to go through some of the ones which I thought were interesting. We're going to look at some new watches. We're going to look at some of the collaborations. We're going to look at some rumored watches that are going to come out, and I think they're going to be fairly interesting for G-Shock people, and these aren't necessarily new watches that I think will be at the high price range. I think they'll be fairly accessible based on their models. And then we're going to wrap up with some of the uses of G-Shock watches in the military, because it is still sometimes the watch of choice. So to support my news episode, I have to go to my news screen. So we have the thing above, there is it over here. And before I start, as always, G-Shock watch of the day is still currently the Sky Cockpit, or the Cockpit Skymaster. I always get it wrong. I did a trip recently where I tested out the GPS functionality of this particular watch, which was superb. I got to a location that was a couple of hours different from where I am in Singapore. I activated the GPS, and within a couple of seconds, it worked out exactly where I was. It changed the time zone and had everything set exactly the way it had to be for that particular time zone. And you might say, well, Matt, that's what Multiband 6 does. But Multiband 6 does not cover every location. So this GPS feature worked really, really well. And it's a gorgeous watch. Still looks great. Still feels great. Probably one of the most comfortable watches with a big face. But we're not talking about the watch. We're talking about the news. So let's start off with some new watches that are coming out to the market, and there is no shortage of very cool watches coming out. These are just a few that I went ahead and selected for our viewing today. So starting off with this particular series of watches, they've got some new white blue watches with phosphorescent dials and faces. They're called the HDS series. Now, these blue-white watches are usually quite stunning. You might remember I have a porcelain digital watch which I got from China. Very, very beautiful watch with the band which is actually swirled and molded. Very, very unique. These ones are very pretty as well. Very bold on the white, and the blues themselves are very, very bright. So this would be a nice watch, let's say, for example, if you were going ahead and actually utilizing with sports gear or something fairly light, something fairly casual, nice watch to go ahead and actually complement. Typically, we see people, use those sort of steel watches, but I don't think you'd look bad if you had this particular watch on your wrist at a casual event. It's a fairly nice sort of casual watch you could get away with on the weekend. And so if we go down, what we're seeing in each of these watches is essentially a negative and positive variant. So you can sort of see here, these are all the positive display digital aspects, but then we also have negative display watches as well. So we've got 6 watches in total, 4 positive and 6 negative. And nice looking watches. If we go down and have a look, they've got a lot of lume in the actual watch face itself, and obviously with that white, they're able to embed a lot of that lume into the actual face itself. So at the nighttime, these watches are going to look pretty stunning as they sort of glow on your wrist, and might actually draw people to say, hey, what is actually on your wrist? That will show pretty clearly. These we're releasing in May. I don't know if we have them yet. I have to go check the catalog. But price-wise, typically G-Shock News will tell us at the end. It doesn't. Let's go ahead and quickly have a look at the prices here. So if we go to G-Shock and let's have a look at the watches here. So view all products. So we're looking at $179 Sing. So potentially if you're in the US, you're probably looking at about maybe $130, $140 US. Singapore dollar is pretty strong at the moment. The highest one is obviously that one at $209, which has a very interesting variance in terms of the glow here, the lume, and then you've got the light as well. So interesting watch that might be something you might want to pick up from a casual point of view, maybe give to a gift to someone. Very, very cool. Now, other new watches that have come out recently, we've got some new Glide watches or Glide watches. We've got the GBX100S-1, and this comes out in two colors. There's a black one and there's a purple one. And when I had a look, there's really no purple ones to date except this one here. But what you'll sort of see is that these watches have a kind of two-tone look about them. So if we go down and have a look at the case itself, so the case is still a sort of metal case, but then we've got this see-through plastic. If we go to the purple one, same sort of thing again. We've got that plastic on there, or see-through, and then the purple. Traditionally, these watches, if we have a look at, say, we'll take the basic one here, they don't necessarily have that particular protection around the watch itself. So it does look a little bit different, and these watches themselves are really built around that sort of surf lifestyle that people want to go ahead and actually capture. So you can sort of see here high functionality. Where is it? It does sort of say get the toughness and functionality your surfing lifestyle demands, and the summery materials and colors you love in a G-Shock from the Glide line. And obviously, as a heavy surfer, probably not going to be going for this particular watch, but I do like these watches. I'm interested because they have all of the displays of features and things like that on the watches themselves. So might be something interesting to go ahead and pick up. These ones going for a little bit more expensive, $259, so you could expect it around about $200 US, I'm guessing, might be the price I actually go for, but an interesting watch all the same. Next up is this one, and I'm very excited about this particular watch. This is a new MTG B2000Y BD-2A, a blue-gray colorway with lightweight carbon bezel frame. Very, very nice looking watch, very dark colors. I mean, this is a watch which is not going to be big and bold and stand out. Your MTGs are typically your twisted watches, so it's a combination of a lot of metal and a lot of resin. This one is a all metal watch by the looks of it. If we go back and have a look, it looks like it's a metal bracelet on that particular watch, but maybe there's a bit of resin on the inside. Hard to sort of tell. Black iron plated layered composite made of stainless steel and thin blue resin in a layer. I think if we get a side view of this particular watch, we should be able to see that inner layer. But a bit tough to go ahead and actually see. Let's see if Shockbase has the information on this one. So let's jump into Shockbase and we'll paste that in. No, you can't really see the actual sides of the watch, but I had seen a picture earlier where this particular watch, it showed the layered approach. Now, we have seen this before. I actually own an MTG watch where it's black and red, and that layering actually appears on the watch itself. And this watch does the same sort of thing. It's got the black and red and then the layering on the side. But this is a really nice MTG watch. You know, it's a fairly solid looking watch. Carbon reinforced monarch case, tough solar power, multi-band 6, Bluetooth, triple G resist. It has all of the, sorry, I should show you, it's got all of the features that you would expect from that particular watch. Very, very nice watch. $1,200 in the US. The previous model was the black red, which I think is the one I actually had. Let's just quickly go and do a search on that particular one. And if I'm right, can't seem to find it. Let's try back and hang on. MTG. I'm really struggling to try and get that. There we go. This particular one. Yes, this is the watch I think I have, and maybe we can actually see a little bit of the layering. Ah, there you go. You can see the layering there. This is a similar thing that new MTG watch will actually have. It will have that same sort of layering in the actual watch of the black and the blue, the black and the blue, black and the blue. And it's a very, very similar carbon. So really, really nice watch, that one, this MTG, this blue one here. So one to look out for if you're looking for something. $1,800, so $1,200 US. Might be a fairly pricey one. Now, this last watch, I've absolutely fallen in love with. Like, I think this is really, really cool watch. I would love to be able to go ahead and actually afford it, but it is really out of my price range unless I hit the lottery. Now, we're not talking about a super $500,000 watch, but it's that sort of watch if I bought, I'd be in a lot of trouble. This is the actual watch itself. It is the new Frogman MRG BF1000RG-3A. Love those names. Super complicated and easy to remember. But this one just, straight off the bat, looks absolutely gorgeous. The color combinations here blow my mind. You've got this beautiful silver. You've got the black background. You've got orange highlights on the actual watch. The band, the resin is this green. It's absolutely beautiful. It's got a military style inspired by the Goliath frog. Now, I don't know what a Goliath frog is. Okay, let's have a look at what a Goliath frog is. So, Goliath frog. Ugh. I don't like frogs too much. I think they're kind of icky. But that is a Goliath frog. Do we have any more pictures of it? It's in Africa. Ugh. Looks like a fairly big frog. Let's try again if we've got any more. Goliath frog. Ooh, that's a big frog. Okay, well, it's a big frog. It's obviously going to be a big watch. And so if we have a look here, this is a big, gorgeous watch. So it's going to be released in Japan and Asia in May 2025, with other regions expected to follow. It's a silver grey and green military combination inspired by the Goliath frog from Western Africa, which is the world's largest living frog. This watch is stunning. You've got a big silver, and that's green on the back of it to hold the logo there. Beautiful, beautiful watch. I mean, this is probably one of the more stunning MRG Frogmans I've actually seen. I mean, the reality is I do like the yellow Frogman that came out, that limited edition, but I reckon I would sort of go for this one. If I had the option between the two, I would almost go for this green one first. This green one just looks really rugged, really awesome, very militaristic. We'll talk about military later on in the services, but this is a really, really pretty watch. And so if you're really in the market to get something stunning, this is the watch to be able to go for. So there you go, new watches. Now, let's move ahead, and next is new collaborations. And this week, as I was doing some research for this, I just saw a lot of collaborations. These aren't the entire collaborations that I've seen over the last month. There's a lot of different collaborations, but these ones I'm going to showcase here are some of the ones that I thought were interesting. Maybe not because of the person, but the watch I think is an interesting collaboration itself. And so if we go ahead and have a look, starting off with this particular one, which may not be the most interesting one, but a strange one, it's the collaboration with Crocs. Now, I don't own any Crocs at all, but it was really funny. When this collaboration came out in the news, so many people pinged me and said, have you seen this? Are you getting it? I am not buying Crocs. I think they're terrible looking shoes, but I understand that they are super popular for a lot of people. But G-Shock and Crocs have done a collaboration where you can essentially connect your watch to the actual Croc itself, and the color of the watch matches up with the actual Croc, and you can sort of see here they both glow in the dark. So you can imagine going to the nightclub in your Crocs with your matching G-Shock and everybody saying, what are you wearing? Not that you'd probably go to a club with these particular shoes, but definitely making a statement. So this is a GA2100, so it's a fairly standard sort of fundamental G-Shock watch, but an interesting collaboration all the same. And I kind of think these are the risks that Casio needs to take with G-Shock if they want to go ahead and actually capture the watch market. We've already talked about it before, where they're really not going to be able to jump into the smartwatch market with Android, battle with Garmin, battle with Apple Watch. I mean, they do release some smart type fitness watches, but they are fundamentally a 1 or 2 feature watch when it comes down to fitness. There's synchronization, they partner with Strava, those are good things. But realistically, when you're going up against an Apple Watch with music on it and all those different things, very, very hard to compete. So these sorts of risks, these sorts of crazy ideas that, I wouldn't necessarily buy into, may capture a different set of people. So these collaborations, you love them, you don't like them, you dismiss them, but they are trying something different, and you've got to hand it to them that they're going ahead and actually making these sorts of efforts. Second collab is this one's interesting. So Action Bronson, and I must be getting old. I have no idea who Action Bronson is. I knew Charles Bronson was a action dude from the old days, did all those movies like Death Wish and things like that. Big mustache, big sort of head. But Action Bronson teases a GA2100 Desert King collaboration with Baklava. So this must be him here. And the watch itself, let's just try and actually refresh it so we can find the watch. There it is there. Interesting looking watch, a GA2100, a brown desert over there with the big globe over the top and a red LCD. So very, very interesting sort of watch there. The back's kind of nice, worldwide look about it. Whoops, we've gone out to the watch there. So, his first one actually getting into, maybe it's going to be a good watch. Maybe it'll be exciting for people. Action Bronson is an American rapper and TV show host. So, yeah, he definitely is a G-Shock looking man. Maybe. Similar colored hair. So that's what G-Shock people actually look like, apparently. But American-born Action Bronson, he's the man who's going to go ahead and take it forward. So interesting collaboration there. The other one here, I want to jump over, the Surfrider Foundation. This is a really nice looking watch. Very nice, clear, positive display, tough solar, and it's got a molded resin band, which is obviously made from recycled pieces. So you can sort of see here, made up of mixed molded yellow and light yellow bio-based resin, giving each one a unique experience. And this is very similar to the porcelain watch that I had before. Cool watch if you were looking for that sort of yellow experience from that point of view. Talking about color, I've lost my backlight there, but that's okay. We can still keep going. This is the news after all. And then the last collaboration is this one here, Barbershop, Mr. Brothers Cut Club. This is in Japan. They've launched this particular watch here. A positive digital watch there with the, looks like a razor, and very nice little watch with the nice sort of colors or the inscriptions. What do you call it? The decorations, the embezzle, the prettiness, the bling on the actual watch itself looks kind of nice from that point of view, right? Fairly standard sort of watch, but nice all the same from a collectible point of view. I found some very interesting collabs. I saw one the other day from India, which I might try and see if I can actually pick up at some point, and I'll hold on to that story at a later date because I think that's a kind of cool looking watch as well. Okay, next up, let's talk about this, a XL GW B5600. Now, the B5600 is a fairly common watch. A watch which many of us actually own. It's a really, really nice watch. And G Central had this story. What does the X in the G-Shock GW-BX 5600 signify? So there's a blog site in Japan talking about a watch coming out that would be the GW-BX 5600. So it's probably got it's got Bluetooth. It's got a Bluetooth device certification filing. It's similar to a GW5600, which is this particular watch. It's got tough solar, multi-band 6. So these are all the things that I love about the watches, even though I don't use them. The tough solar I always love. But we're looking at this particular watch, but with a X in it. And I kind of like what they're talking about. They sort of say here, when used in the lettered prefix of the name, X has been used to distinguish certain lines such as the G-Lide. Could it be a G-Lide surfing series with tide and moon graphs? Okay, that would be interesting. But I kind of like what they're sort of saying after this one. Like they're sort of saying that, it probably won't be because we would expect the X to be in the prefix in this case, right? But this is where we get interesting. There are only 2 G-Shock series where the X appeared after the prefix and before the numbers, like the GWBX5600. And that was the discontinued GDX6900. Do we actually have that? So let's have a look. It's that particular watch there, which I don't find terribly interesting. Or they're talking about the GX56. Now, this is where it gets my attention because, as you'll know, the GX56 is the G-Shock King, which we've heard before was going to be discontinued, but it's not discontinued. I don't know where it's actually going. Maybe this is a new line of the G-Shock Kings. Maybe this is the cross of the geneticism or the genetics of these 2 particular watches. We're going to go take this particular watch here, this sort of GWB5600, and we're going to combine it with something like this, a G-Shock King, a GX56. So what we might see here is an evolution of these 2 watches coming together. This is the GWB5600 Caution Yellow, right? Really nice sort of watch. And then this is the King. So potentially, are we going to see some sort of merging of these watches that come together? And I don't know exactly what that will look like. I'm expecting it might be a GWB5600 that's a little bit bigger, maybe segmented displays. I don't know, but I'm really excited about what this watch could potentially be as an XL version of a GWB5600. So super cool from that angle. The next thing, this will get people excited. The GMW B500 with a what's it called? Memory in pixel display. I always get this mixed up. Memory in pixel display. So this is an interesting watch because a lot of people kind of like this memory in pixel display. So there's a leak of this GMW BZ5000 with an MIP display. So if we go down and have a look here, this is coming from a Instagram account called GS or G's G-Shock. It's hard to read some of these guys and their names sometimes, but this is what they're posting here. They're suggesting that it's going to be a GWBX 5600, which might also have memory in pixel LCD display. So if we go have a look at the Instagram account here, this is the particular watch. So it's an all metal. It's got that bigger digital display, but it's memory in pixel, which will be very, very cool. And they also have varying designs. So we've got a black with gold insets. We've got gold with black insets. It looks like it's a fairly thin watch too. And maybe this is what we're starting to see from that financial report from the last episode, where they said they want to try and bring some of the aspects of Casio watches, which were thinner, and bring that to the G-Shock watch styles as well. And this does look like it's a fairly thin sort of watch with a very stylish display. So something to get hopeful for. Coming in the later half of this year, the GMW BZ5000 series watch, which would be a very, very cool looking watch. This is what the GMW B5000 looks like today, but this is what the 5000 with that memory in pixel potentially looks like. So very, very cool. And obviously got my title wrong on that one there. It's not the 500, it's the 5000 series. Last up, G-Shocks in the military. Always love seeing these stories, and there's a particular story that was released just the other day here. Navy SEALs, incredible people, wearing G-Shock watches in 2025. And you would think for all of the technology in the world, we would see different types of devices and things like that, but G-Shock remains to be a resilient watch that is served in the most brutal and harshest conditions, and the Navy SEALs do some pretty incredible stuff in terms of underwater actions and things like that. But they're out there wearing these DW9052 watches, which is, really a very, very basic watch. And maybe that's the point. The point of being in that watch is it's serving a specific purpose to tell you the time, to give you a stopwatch, to be able to time things accurately. That's what this watch is. It fundamentally does those features with some ruggedization, which really helps people be successful. So, the Navy still goes ahead and actually uses these. And as they sort of say, they appear on all of these Navy SEALs doing operations just recently in February 2025. So G-Shock still has its place with the military in these particular watches, and this is probably the closest I could actually get to it that I could see. This is the DW9500, and it's almost as close as what the actual watch is. You don't necessarily see, you don't see these watches on Shockbase. Like, I look for the Shockbase one, you can't sort of see it. But it says here, regularly sold, discounted for around $50 at some retailers and military exchanges. Maybe it's a harder watch to be able to go and get, but to see those people who are doing absolutely critical operations and things like that, and they absolutely rely on the G-Shock to be able to give them those functionality, it's very, very cool. So there you go. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for spending some time with me to do a quick run through of the G-Shock news. Really appreciate you taking the time here to spend with me. Please like and subscribe as always, leave a comment. Really love the participation from everybody, and thank you so much for your help today. Have a great day. Bye-bye.